Hope you're having an amazing day. Hope you guys are having an amazing time with your family during the holidays. And most importantly, I hope you have had time to go through the Half a Meal Thesis webinar. And if you haven't had the time, please make the time to go through it, right? I've had so many messages from so many people asking me like, hey Serge, how did you go for 4 hours explaining everything that you explained during the webinar? And to be honest, I don't know how I did it, right? I just did it. Essentially what the webinar does is goes over how to actually scale and net 500K or a few millions if you're like me in 2023, and how I believe it should be done, right? I went over the offers, I went over the importance of urgency and how to actually, be more urgent when you're going about creating your business. I went over the offers, I went over the client acquisition channels, I went over how to hire people, right? And also how to scale your company, right? So if you're running an agency or a consulting business and you're doing less than 8 figures a year, please take the time to watch it. I'll leave a link below, okay? But today I have a pretty cool interview for you guys. A week or so ago, I got on a call with Thomas, right? He's been blowing up in this agency space. And when I first found out about him, I actually, it's my closer actually messaged me like, hey, check out this video. This guy just mentioned you in one of his videos. And because Thomas actually had just signed up for our VA placement offer. And yeah, so the video was so funny, and I ended up looking at his videos. I was like, wow, this guy really has that thing, right? Some people may be just, really sharing pretty cool insights. They're like, just really good in business. But other people just have this character and personality to really do something well. And Thomas has that thing, which is something that you and I can't really replicate, right? And that's why it's so important when you're out there online to actually focus on being yourself. Do not try to copy me. Do not try to copy Iman. Do not try to copy Thomas, right? Because I see now that Thomas has been putting out content, talking about these gurus. Like everybody out there and their mother are starting to talk about Iman or Jaime or Kai Bax or like all these gurus, right? Just to get clout, right? But guys, do not try to go viral off of talking other people down, right? If you have had a bad experience, for sure talk about it, right? But do not try to copy someone else's lottery ticket thinking that that's what's also going to make you go viral or that's what's going to make you rich, right? So in today's in the interview I had with Thomas, I talked about, we talked about a lot of stuff, and yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy this interview. It was pretty short, but yeah, I think you guys will find it helpful. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and like this video and share it with everyone that you like. And let's grow the brand, right? Thank you guys so much. Love y'all. Enjoy this video. Bye-bye. All right, so on today's call, I have Thomas. It was only right for me to have a chat with him because he's been going crazy in this online space. So yeah, Thomas, you want to share a little bit about yourself? Where are you? What do you do? Things like that.
Yeah, so you guys might have already seen me on YouTube. Like last week I was at an event. A bunch of people came up to me and like told me that they already knew me. So yeah, it's kind of new. Little background about me. I started my agency around 6 months ago. I don't have like a crazy agency. I don't make a crazy amount yet. It's gonna come. But yeah, I also have a channel and started that 2 months ago, and it's just blowing up like crazy. So
yeah. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's kind of unreal. I never really wanted to go like and do the traditional path of like, going to college, getting a job. I was in college, but I dropped out. So I dropped out in April of this year. I dropped out when my agency was going well. And then I was about to apply to another school here in Paris, actually. So that's what motivated me to start my channel at the same time. And I feel like now, I have like a layer of protection against that. So, but yeah, now things are going really, really well. And I'm just in relief, That's how I feel.
You feel like you can sleep better at night knowing that you have an audience now. What do you think made you go viral? Like, what do you think? Because one thing, I'll tell you what my feedback is. But what do you think made people so attracted to your character?
I think the honesty. I think people are really sick of like seeing like others online and they don't really go straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of have something to sell. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone always has something to sell. Attention isn't free ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way I came about it, where I didn't really care, I just kind of went straight into the videos, went straight into the content, and the way I kind of explained things kind of made it attractive for people. It just kind of made people click and just keep watching because it was, I guess, interesting.
Yeah.
And for me, I think another thing is I'm good at editing. I had like 3 YouTube channels in the past ever since I was 15, and so yeah, I'm just good at editing. I still do the editing myself. I'm probably gonna outsource that soon, but I feel like editing is a big thing. Just keeping people's attention spans, that's huge.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that because when I first heard about you, it was Hassan. He was like, "Hey, this guy just made a video about you." And at first, I didn't know you had like signed up for our VA thing, which is something you never used because you've been so busy.
Yeah,
But yeah, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, check out this video. This guy mentioned you." And I checked out the video and it was so fucking engaging. And it was like, it's like because I think the reason why people are because you have something that not a lot of people have. You're like this, and when I also learned that you were from Paris, I was like, oh shit, it all makes sense because let me try to explain this. One thing I've noticed is that there's these characters on YouTube, right? Where the only thing they have is like they're born in one city, they've never felt any other culture. Like they're just like they're bland, if you know what I mean, right?
yeah,
But for you, and just the fact that you're from Paris, but I think you've also been into the States, right? For some time.
yeah. I lived there when I was
Yeah.
younger, so yeah.
So what I think my hypothesis on why people are or the character that you became is that you're actually like you're a mix of so many cultures and so many perspectives that like you actually don't really care. Because I think what ends up happening is that I've seen so many people who are like, like if you look at Sam Ovens, right? Or if you look at Hormozy, or maybe not Hormozy, but a lot of these guys that we look up to, they're just like these characters who just come from a specific place in their heart. They just want to grind, make money, right? But then you also will have a lot of people like me, you, who generally just, man, like we're just trying to make it out. You know what I mean? Like we're just trying to be cool, just trying to make it out, make some millions, and then we're just like trying to portray our how can I say it? Um, who we are as a person before we actually necessarily focus on getting the money, right?
Yeah,
And something that it's like you're being personal, like you're not necessarily like it's not the money that made you. It's like you are who you are, and then the success it just comes afterwards. So I think people
yeah,
really like to connect with people who are just like them.
yeah. I think that's really big. A lot of people told me that it's just one guy told me like people aren't looking for they're kind of sick in a way of like looking at people like Sam Ovens, Alex Hormozy, people that are
Yeah,
just way ahead of them in whatever they're trying to do. They just want to find that person who's like actually in the journey but has something going for them, and they're like
yeah,
it's kind of like they're with a friend, they're like watching the videos of like a guy that's like
yeah,
he's just like kind of doing it in real time and it's going well for him, and they want to see like, oh, what he's doing, what's he doing, I want to do what
yeah.
he's that's why I have like so many people copying me, doing
Now doing the same
same
thing.
same cold call scripts, the going for permanent
Yeah,
makeup artists as a niche, which is before that, no one really heard about permanent makeup artists.
Yeah.
Now it's like everyone is trying to build their agency around that. So it's funny.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
mean,
think this would happen, honestly.
yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you have thousands of people, man. Like, do you know how many subscribers do you have now?
Almost 40,000.
Do you know how many people that is, bro? Putting them in a stadium, like you would fill up like a few stadiums, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely crazy.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
insane. Great fucking job.
I had just like I mentioned, I had several channels before. I think one of my channels I grew to 18,000 subscribers before it got either taken down by YouTube or I sold. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, I kind of knew that my channel was gonna get to that, to that amount of subscribers at some point, but I just didn't know it would happen that quick.
Yeah. Because you've been
That's
blowing
funny.
up, man. Yeah. So yeah, go back to the editing thing, because that's also another thing I saw, man. It's like your videos are just like, it's like there is levels, man. And I think, you may not necessarily, a lot of people may not see. So for me, I just like when people go really in depth on something and really become good at something. And I think that if you didn't have the editing skills that you have now, I don't think you would have gone as viral. I think it's probably the 80-20 thing. It's like 20% the content, 80% the editing. And
yeah.
And it's like, you just said that you've been doing it since you were like, what, 15?
Yeah.
So like now in
yeah,
2022.
it's kind of like I had it in me of like I know exactly how to title things. I just knew that like you need the good combination of like the thumbnails, the titles, the watch time. You need to link videos together. To like kind of create a snowball effect. But yeah, like actually my resolution for next year is to really get serious with my agency, maybe start posting a little bit less. But get serious with my agency, and because we're actually transitioning to a SaaS model where we're using software as the basis to hold our clients basically forever. And on basically we're building a hybrid where there's a community and they use the software, they run their ads from the software, etc. They have automations. And it's kind of an untapped market right now. Everyone's like looking at SMMA. Everyone's still kind of in the realm of agencies, but this is kind of new, I feel.
Yeah. How are you going to position that? Are you going to be selling that to agencies and businesses, or how are you going to position that?
Yeah, that's what I'm transitioning my agency to. So our niche is med spas. So any people who do like body sculpting, permanent makeup, like I mentioned, but also we're looking into going to people that do Botox, laser hair removal, etc. So we have like a bunch of different ad templates set up for those services, automations, etc.
Nice.
And we teach them. There's like a consulting side of it where we teach them how to use the software. And so we try and get as much things as possible on the software so they keep using it, and at the same time they have that community so they stay in it for a longer period of time.
Cool. Do you have partners on this?
Yeah. I recently just partnered up with someone who actually had like the same agency as me, so was basically a competitor. But we're still discussing on that.
Cool. Nice. Now that you've gotten a bigger audience, I guess there's insane amount of people DMing you wanting to collab and things like that. How are you maneuvering through that? Because I guess it's new for you. So like, how do you know who's the real? How do you know who's the fake? Just trying to ride your wave.
I just go on their profile and look at like, what do they do? That's really what I check first. But yeah, I have a bunch of people messaging me every day, asking me questions. At the beginning, I like I basically accepted all the DMs and like answered everyone. But I rapidly realized, yeah, it's kind of a waste of time. Like I should just focus on like what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, once you start, because one thing I've also realized is that when you're putting out content online and when you're helping people, it's like it ends up becoming as if like you owe them an answer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people will just start blasting your DMs, asking you questions that like they already know the answers to, right? And that's the only thing, that's the only downside of giving. It's like people now want to take away everything. I'm
Yeah,
not
and
sure
it's
if
like
you've experienced that.
they have questions that are like really basic, and you know you have a video where you covered it, just haven't
Yeah,
looked at it. So yeah, it's always a dilemma.
yeah, that's funny. So what made you want to get into this online space? Like what's the drive? Like what do you think piqued your curiosity around this space? Like how did you get started?
So I began, I don't know if this is like everyone, but I began just kind of watching videos on YouTube. I think like 2 3 years ago I started watching people like Iman Gaji. Obviously now I made a video about him, but yeah, that's the types of people I was watching back then. And I wasn't really building my agency yet. I was just like watching videos from the sideline. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just
Yeah,
watching videos from the sideline, not really taking action. Um, and it reached to the point where I was in college. I didn't really like studying. What I was studying was basically, it was called communication science. It's like looking at research papers for the study of communication, which is dumb. Like it's not practical in any way.
yeah.
Just, it's just what you learn in college is just dumb, and they stretch it out for like 4 5 years,
Oh my
whatever it
God.
is, and you have to pay for it. I just felt like behind all of this is it's just a business. Like college is just a business. But anyway, that's how I felt, and I felt like during that same time, as I was watching the videos, it just kind of made me frustrated that these people were like out of the matrix. And so that's really what pushed me, I think, last year. Last year I bought some courses and didn't find success with the courses.
Mhm.
And I realized it's not a problem of information, it's a problem of actually shutting down the information and focusing on just what needs to be done, right? It's
Yeah,
like just
implementation.
taking action, seeing the results of your action in the real world, and then learning and then taking more action. And it's only
Yeah.
through that process of like you being proactive, as opposed to reactive, where you're just looking at videos every day. You're just, reacting to the YouTube
Yeah.
algorithm every day, what it feeds you. And you don't have those blinders on,
Yeah.
which is what you need whenever you're building a business. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
So
really got me into building my agency.
okay, cool. And yeah, funny enough, one thing you just mentioned, man, like it's so important for a lot of people to understand. And I think that that's what drives our company, right? It is the fact that like, yes, you will get access to information, but like the thing that separates you from winning and losing is really like, hey, can you actually use some of that thing, the thing you learned, right? So instead of like just learning to learn, how about you just implement? Because one thing that I think courses are still helpful. Like I know a lot of people hate on courses, but for me, I think courses is still better. If you're dumb, then you probably need more knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But there's such a gap between how many people actually learn about how to build online businesses and people actually end up building ones. And that thing is because of the habits an entrepreneur needs and the habits of a student is completely different. Just because you learned entrepreneurship does not make you an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So like so many people are failing. I think that maybe 0.03% of people who go through courses actually end up making something of the course, right? And the rest are just so on their daily habits of just being lazy. Because I think starting a business is becoming someone new, right? You have to be okay with rejection. You have to do a lot of activities, not see a return in the short term, and you have to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like how did you go through that phase of like your first starting your first outreach campaign and things like that? How long did it take you to get your first client?
It took me a while. Like I started off in e-commerce. I didn't really find success there, but then I started doing some outreach to more local businesses. So a local permanent makeup artist in Amsterdam, and I basically got her through cold calling. So I said, yeah, I'm a digital marketing student. I can run your ads for free. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, okay. Since you're a beginner, I'm also a beginner. So I'm new in building my business. So why not? We can get started. And yeah, I was just super happy when I saw that running her ads, I got her like a $1 cost per lead. So for her, it was just excellent. It was just a great return on investment. So I had her for actually like 3 months, which is pretty good for a first client. Nice. And then it kind of snowballed into there. Like she made a testimonial. Then it was easier to get clients. And yeah, I feel like it really took off when I saw that initial success with that client. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that first client is key. Is super key. And I think offering services for free at first, I think it's good. If you're just learning and you have nothing to lose and you have time on your hand, why wouldn't you do it for free, right? Because anyway, if you charge, you're technically scamming them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. I feel like it's the ultimate competitive advantage. Like, if you're not willing to do it for free, like don't even do it.
Yeah.
So when you start out, you have to, I feel like you have to do it for free. You have to be at least willing to do it for free, because you're going to get a bunch of no's. And if you don't want to, do it for free, then yeah, just expect a bunch of no's.
100%. One thing I wanted to ask you is, now you've been making a lot of videos about, these influencers with courses. Any of them called you out or reached out to you after you made videos about them?
Yeah, I had one guy send me like a legal threat from his supposed lawyer, which was kind of funny. I had some guy make like an expose video about me. Actually, 2 guys. Yeah. I mean, no one really reaching out back to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't like attack them. I just speak. I just express my opinion and also expose some of the things they've done.
Yeah.
But one guy, like, he went silent. He knew he kind of fucked up. So
who is that?
It's Jaime.
Nice.
Jaime Higuera. I don't know if you know him, but he has like 60,000 subscribers. He just stopped uploading.
That's crazy. Yeah, I saw I saw him buying a Ferrari. So I saw his video getting a Ferrari. So I like that. But one thing I've never understood is like, so there is this thing, and I think maybe this is something that I think maybe I'm a little ahead of you, and maybe this is an advice I would give you. It's like, if you're going to do one thing, if you want to succeed, do one thing. Do not try to do a bunch of things, right? So I think what ends up happening with, the Jaimes, the Imans, is that, Imans did it. He understood it. But these guys try to use the fact that they run an agency to sell to agency owners, right? And for me, it's like, you don't need to do that, because eventually you're going to have people who come out and judge you because you sold them a dream based on the false dream you were living, right? Because I know people who are literally making probably like 10K a month with their agency, but they're making like $250,000 a month with coaching, consulting, agency course, right? So for me, it's like, bro, like, just be honest and just be like, hey, I know more than you, so I can sell you this course because I know more than you. But do not use the fact that you run an agency as an argument to selling the course, because as soon as people realize that like you're just using your fake agency to sell, then you're just going to have so much negativity online and people talking down your brand, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I've never really, a lot of people, I've had a few people who are like, oh, but Serge, you don't run an agency. I'm like, I don't fucking want to run an agency. Like, what? I just want to help you with your outreach, with your appointment setting, and with your offers. But I don't need to be running an agency to know about offer creation and appointment setting. You know what I mean? I don't need to be a TikTok specialist to be able to help you to start a TikTok offer, right? So, and I think that's why it's just being a two-faced person. You're this persona here, and then you're also this persona here. It's like, how long can you sustain being on both ends? It's like, just be honest with the people.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like those people look at it at the short term. They're like, oh, my agency's going well, I might as well just drop a course and you know, make way more money off the course than the agency. And then it's like 2-3 years down the line, like shit like this happens and it just blows back in their face. And who knows if this guy actually has an agency, because he never actually revealed anything about it. You know, I don't actually know if he has an agency or not. Maybe he actually does, and he's sustaining himself. But like, you know, shit can really hit the fan when that happens, and it's like you don't have the foundations in place. You don't have the long-term 5-year plan in your head.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. But for you, I know you're currently running, pushing the agency stuff, and you know, this, now that you've grown this audience, but I want you to know that eventually you're going to need to monetize the hell out of this audience. Yeah. Right. Because you owe it to your family, you owe it to yourself. You can't be pushing the agency long term. But yeah, I highly recommend you start figuring out a roadmap of something, an infrastructure where you can fulfill for people. Yeah, and I feel like that's definitely important to monetize the right way. Yeah. So I'm definitely thinking that you know, as I'm going along. 100%. Yeah, when you're ready to do that, hit me up. I'll show you how to play the game. Right. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome, man. No, I know you got a dip, so thank you so much for this interview, man. And yeah, man, you're killing it, man. Keep pushing. Do not stop. I know you said you want to stop uploading. No. Scale your audience to 1 million people, bro. There's no time to stop. When you find something that works, this is my #1 lesson. When you become good, when you see success in some area, do not ever fucking stop. The only reason you would stop is if you're good forever. But right now, you're just getting started. So compound the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And I promise you that, you know, life will be a movie. Yeah. All right. Cool. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. It was nice. And you too, keep killing it, bro. I really love what you do. It's crazy. Go, man. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Have a beautiful day. All right. Bye-bye. Peace. Hey, thank you for watching my video. One thing that I want to ask you is please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with the people in your circle, people who can find this content helpful. And before you actually leave, I have a 5 days to 50K a month program with the right offers, the right mindset, decision-making, training, everything you need when it comes to scaling an agency, high-ticket coaching or consulting business past 50K per month, from the client acquisition systems to how to actually scale and sustain scale. If you want to access it, click the link below. Yeah, find it helpful.